Oh, my loves. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Dustina. This is Spiritually Boujee Astrology, and we're going to take a look at the astrological transits of May 6th to May 12th. Before we do a type of recap or look ahead, I got a couple quick little things. One, I'm going to start doing the Facebook Lives and the Zooms this week. And whenever I did the tally of everybody that commented, whether you commented on YouTube, whether you DM me directly, whether you email me, whatever the format was, because I said, whatever you use to contact me, just do it. Overwhelmingly, the two nights of the week were Tuesday and Wednesday that people preferred. I'm good with that. However, however, this week I have actually already booked something in the Wednesday evening time frame with people here in my local network. So I'm going to be not available this coming Wednesday. So this week's sessions are going to be Monday and Tuesday. So what I'm going to do is Monday evening, Facebook Live. Get everybody get reacquainted with the idea of doing the Facebook Lives. And then Tuesday, we will do the interactive Zooms. So this week, Monday, Facebook Live. Tuesday, we'll do the Zoom. And then next week, we will move into the whole idea of Tuesdays and Wednesdays moving forward, just to get everybody on the same page. Now, beyond that right there, the other thing that I wanted to go over was the special that I did last month. I'm going to do a bit of an alteration. And that is, before, I only did those discounted rates whenever it came to like certain months where I felt like we're going to be particular. And the thing about those discounted rates is I did it for everybody. What I'm going to do moving forward is that if you want to book your first session with me, the first session will be discounted. And then after that, if you want to continue working with me, then it will be at the full rate. So an hour-long session with me is $50. If you are a new client, that will remain at the $35 that I've been advertising for the last few months. If you want a 90-minute session with me, they would normally be they were 75. I'm actually taking them down to 70. So a $70 session will be discounted down to 50 if it is your first session. So first sessions are discounted just so that way people can get an idea and they don't have to feel like they're shelling out a bunch of money to get started with me. But after you've had your first sessions and moving forward, they will be at the full price. And if I do the discount again later on, it will be universal to everybody, just to kind of get everybody on the same page now. Okay. I hope that clears some things up. I hope everybody's prepared for that. So like I said, the 35.50 is going to continue, but it will be for new clients only. If you want to buy a gift certificate for somebody, that's okay. And moving forward, as of this week, Facebook Live and Zooms will start up, but they're going to be Monday and Tuesday, with the idea that later on they will be Tuesdays and Wednesdays moving forward. Okay, we're all on the same page. Now let's get to this energy, because I'm feeling this energy. And I got to be honest, I feel really good about this week. I feel secure going into this week, but I also feel like even in the security, we're going to be building into something that is going to be very, very unexpected, unanticipated, exciting. But where that excitement comes in is going to be different for everybody. And that's the human effect. We've got a couple things that are happening this week. So we have the new moon in Taurus. Now, for me, that is perfecting at like 10:20 at night, Tuesday, Central Standard Time. So for some people, the new moon is going to be on Wednesday. But for a lot of us, it's actually going to be on Tuesday. It just kind of depends on your time zone. That new moon, I said in the month ahead forecast, it is in a very loose conjunction that is building to the sun and Uranus. And all of this week after the new moon, it's like we're building to the sun Uranus conjunction. So whatever new connection, whatever new vibration, whatever new thing is coming through, we'll have something unanticipated, unexpected, very, very exciting. For some people, it's going to be a viral situation, depending on what we're talking about, that is going to come through. But the human effect is, for some people, that might be something that happens this week. For other people, it might be something that happens next week. We're going into a 2-week span of expect the unexpected. And I want to say that from jump. However, when it comes to that new moon, it's not just in that loose conjunction to Uranus, it's also in a sextile to Saturn. And whenever Saturn's energy is involved, we tend to be more serious, more aware. There tends to be a bigger justification for things. They seem to be very timely, very real, very responsible. Like they're very, very specific. And I like the tone change that I'm feeling with Saturn's energy sextiling the sun. And I do feel like there's something directly tied to whatever happens this week with the new moon's energy that is actually going to directly impact next week whenever we get into the Sun Uranus conjunction because of Venus. Venus is not really doing a whole lot this week, but whenever we have the Sun Uranus conjunction next week, Venus will be in the sextile to Saturn. So there is something very particular, very specific that is starting this week that will directly impact next week. And whatever that impact is also going to impact all of the Gemini transits. Every day in May is becoming acquainted with the new normal. We've had changes. We did months of purging, closing out 2023, like the whole last half of 2023, purge, release, let it go, overcome, goodbye, not into it, not liking it, go away. And slowly but surely, since the beginning of this year, we've made new, big, long-term decisions based off of the tests and the energy that have come through. And all of April, the last 2 weeks of March through all of April, were about becoming acquainted with the change. We've made the changes. Now we're trying to get more secure in the new normal. And with the Saturn sextile to the new moon, I think we do feel more secure. And then whatever thing gets revealed, whatever unexpected energy, whatever excitement, whatever is going to happen between the new moon, which is Tuesday for most of us, and the Sun Uranus conjunction, which is next week, Monday. So we're building to it all week. It's not going to be detrimental for everybody. But there is something that speaks to expect the unexpected, but not necessarily in the worst possible way. So much of this energy is about trying to secure something and to feel more secure, to be more acquainted with our new role, with our new position, to be more understanding of what's going on with our elders and where our responsibilities are. We have something that is directly impacting this moment where it is time for these shifts. It is time for this awareness. It is time for this recognition. It is time to understand the new way of doing things moving forward. Pause this for a second. Trying not to cough as much as I did in the last episode. My allergy meds are just now kicking in, so I can feel all the bleh. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Okay. This is going to be a really good week. And I do also feel very specifically that there will be a mental and emotional shift, literally as we're starting the week, based off of a transit that will be perfecting Sunday evening. So this hasn't happened yet at the time that I'm recording this, going through the day on Monday. And I feel like a lot of people are going to go into this week feeling the tone change, feeling people's disposition change, feeling something that was for a while feeling very, very unsettled start to feel more regulated, more secure. And I think we're going to be having a couple of conversations, at least in the start of the week, that are again going to help with that new security, that new connection, the new vibe as to how we move forward. So let's get into the week. Let's get into Monday, May the 6th, and I'm right at midnight, 12:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. So again, what I'm about to describe, for some people, this is a conversation, this is communication, this is an interaction happening late Sunday evening. For other people, however, it's going to be more part of Monday. So be aware, what I'm about to describe first off takes back to the prior week, goes into the new week. And that's because we have this really beautiful triple conjunction between the moon, Mercury, and Chiron. Now, Mercury and Chiron, they're not exact yet. They don't actually go exact until Monday evening. But I get the impression, I get the vibe that whatever conversations we're starting to have, for some people, they can be very, very passionate and they can be very funny. They can be very witty. They can have a lot of like excitement to them because we're talking about the Aries side of the transits. But with the moon, with Mercury, we're talking about our emotional, intuitive side, combining with our logical side, fresh out of a Mercury retrograde, our moon back in Aries, basically really close to the eclipse point. There's something in the vibe between Sunday and Monday that speaks to pulling the rest of the energy from the Mercury retrograde, pulling some of that energy from the eclipse, and moving it forward as a part of the new vibe, the new role, the new direction moving forward. Okay. Some of the conversations we can be having, they could be as blunt and point blank as, I think this is how we fix something. Mercury, Chiron. I feel like this is the way we can fix something. Moon, Mercury, Chiron. But for other people, it will not be so directive. I want to fix this in this type of way. This is how we heal and this is how we move forward. For some people, the laughing, the jokes, the prank, the banter, that's what's going to make something heal. That's what's going to make something change. So I do feel like there is both a mental and emotional vibration change that is coming through late Sunday and Monday. Being that this is happening so late in the evening for me, again, a lot of people this is going to be on Sunday. For other people, this is all going to be Monday. Not a bad way to start the week. Moving this along. After the moon has its conjunction to Mercury, which we feel is the most exact between midnight and 2:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Once we get past like 3 in the morning, the moon's starting to separate. And what I'm noticing is like the moon is now void. So whatever that vibration is, it sets the stage for whatever we're dealing with on Monday. And for most of Monday, the moon is going to be void. So be aware of those early morning conversations and getting acquainted with something that needs to be fixed, because whatever it's going to be something that is stabilizing. Because once we get into the afternoon at 4:43 p.m. Central Standard Time, so I got this at 4:30, I bumped this another hour, boom, the moon is now in Taurus. That is when the moon changes signs. And this is right as we're getting closer to Mercury and Chiron's energy coming more exact. So again, there is a vibration change. There is a mental energy change. There is an emotional energy change of how we're going to fix things moving forward. How that conversation manifests for everybody, how those ideas manifest for everybody, it's going to be a little different for everybody, just to be clear. After the moon goes into Taurus, it starts to build its square to Pluto. So we have Pluto newly retrograde, 2 degrees of Aquarius. I bumped this. We feel this the most exact between 7 and 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I got this at 8:30. Here's the moon now, 2 degrees, 19 minutes, just past its exact square, but very much we're in this vibe. And this is actually happening simultaneous to the Mercury Chiron conjunction. This goes exact between 9:22 and 9:50 p.m. So you can see that they're right on top of each other over these next few hours. With the moon square to Pluto, and Pluto is now retrograde, there's something about the past. We can be talking about someone from the past, something from the past. We can be talking about our past, about our trauma. But as we're having the conversation, it's healing, it's hopeful, it's real. There's some kind of excitement here, but there's also something very stabilizing. We can feel that earthy energy because now we got so much crap in Taurus. We can feel the earthy, stabilizing energy. And whatever we're starting to do is meant to be something that's going for the long term. The other thing that's going all day on Monday is that Saturn and the sun's exact sextile is building all day, but it doesn't go exact on Monday. It actually goes exact on Tuesday. So again, there is this role, responsibility, this recognition that is being identified, that is being seen, that is being expressed. Again, we have something that is being very stabilizing. And we can have certain levels of recognition, whether it's us recognizing another person as an authority figure, as somebody that can be taken responsibly, as somebody that knows what the fuck they're doing and knows what the fuck they're talking about. In other ways, it's like we're expressing who we are, we're expressing this role. And there's a lot of expression, but I don't feel like it's meant to be heavy. Now, the way you personally identify with this, or if you have areas of your natal chart that is being highlighted in these parts of the transits, I can't help that. But all in all, this energetic pattern does not feel terrible. It doesn't feel hurtful. It feels like it's something that's meant to be very, very helpful moving forward. All right, we're going to get into Tuesday. And that again is whenever the sun and Saturn will have their exact sextile. So, and that's actually how we start the day right after midnight. You can see right here at 12:30, they're exact. Here's Saturn, here's the sun. We're talking about faith, hope, emotional responsibility, religious responsibility, the things that we desire. We're talking about some level of responsibility that must be understood. For some people, it is us just being in ourself, expressing who we are and our role and our identification again. And the sun being a reflection of the ego is like, there's something here that feels accepting of that. There's something that feels very stable that's building in this energy. Moving this along, we're going to keep this going between 8:30 and 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. So I'm going to get this to 9:30. The moon is going to make a conjunction to Venus. We're still in the Saturn sun energy. So whatever we're talking about, whatever is being identified, whatever responsibility is coming through, whatever we are starting to understand about our new responsibilities and our new roles, because some of us, we just had the job changes. Some of us, we're understanding more and more of the new commitments that we're in. We're starting to get more guidance from these people that we respect so that way we can move forward in certain directions. The moon's conjunction to Venus is talking about the appearance of something. And again, we're moving into a new normal. We're getting more acquainted with the new normal. We're getting more acquainted with stability. And Venus rules this new moon that we're building into all day. So we can get something that appears really nice. We can see something that, aesthetically looks well, looks like it's going to be a promising energy, looks like it's going to be something that gives us hope, that gives us pleasure, not negative energy. We can run into somebody unexpected and be like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in forever. You look amazing. Does not have to be heavy. I don't feel like this is a lot of heavy energy. After the early morning Venus conjunction to the moon, we're just kind of vibing. We're feeling hopeful. We're feeling steady. We're feeling good. And we get into the evening time, and we got two things that are going to happen basically simultaneously. And that is, first off, Saturn is going to sextile the moon. Okay. Saturn is going to sextile the moon right as the new moon is perfecting. So again, this new moon is in a sextile to Saturn. Whatever is being identified, whatever role, whatever responsibility, whoever we're getting guidance from, because sometimes for us to start the new thing, it's not necessarily that we're taking a responsibility, but it's we're waiting for somebody else who is somebody that we see as an authority figure to give the green light, to give the go ahead, to give an idea of how things will progress. There's a lot of this energy that feels like this new moon for a lot of people, it is the long-term green light that we're waiting on, that we've been waiting for, a new opportunity. The human effect is, again, not everything will perfect it directly at the moment of the new moon, at the time of the new moon. So just remember that, guys. We're in this vibration over the course of the next few days. We also still have Mercury and Chiron in their conjunction. Yes, they're past their exact, but they're still both at 21 degrees. So again, a lot of the conversations that are being had, a lot of the communication that is being had, it is meant to be helpful. It is meant to be healing. It is meant to overcome something. It is meant to heal wounds. And how that manifests is going to be different for everybody. But whatever we're starting this week, whatever new horizon that is starting to unfold this week, again, it's like we're getting the green light from somebody. The universe is saying it's time. The elder is saying, go ahead. The authority figure is saying, I support this. This is what you need to do. There's direction involved. And I really like this. But considering this new moon, again, is right after this new moon, we start to build into the Sun Uranus conjunction. There will be things that after this moon, going into next week, that starts to come to light that will feel very unexpected for some people. It might even feel unhinged. Depends on how they're choosing to respond. But for a lot of people, I feel like there's like a liberation. There's something very liberating coming through that's going to address that new path, this new direction, this new idea, this new way of doing things. Okay. Oh, moving this along, we're going to get into Wednesday. Now, for the most part, the moon's going to be in Taurus most of the day. We don't have any late overnight transits, so I don't anticipate a lot of people are going to have an issue with like sleeping. But we can, again, have that unexpected energy first thing in the morning. And this is one of those things that I keep saying, like, we're going into a week of expect the unexpected. In the first part of the morning, between 5:30 and 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, we have the moon's conjunction to Uranus. The unexpected phone call, the unexpected letter, the unexpected email, the unexpected communication, the unexpected announcement on Facebook, the unexpected type of energy. Somebody's talking about some level of change or independence. Does this all happen right here at this time in the morning? No, but it sets the vibration of how we're going to continue, because a lot of the Uranian Jupiterian energy that has been going on since last month is setting the vibration change. We're moving towards a vibration change. And whatever's going on with the moon and Taurus is giving us guidance. It's giving us a green light. It's giving us a pathway to pay attention to for how the next 2 weeks are going to go once we do have the Sun Uranus, the Venus Uranus, and then the Sun Jupiter and the Venus Jupiter, because that's all following this new moon. We're moving into the new normal. Every day in May is understanding the new normal. And all of this moon and Taurus transits is giving us ideas of what that is going to really be and look like moving forward. Okay. The moon's conjunction to Uranus, 5:30 to 7:30 a.m. Bump this up a few more hours. We get the moon's conjunction to Jupiter. We're getting some kind of guidance. We're teaching somebody something. There's some training. There's something from the doctor, something from the guru, something from the nurse. There's something about the medicine, something about the treatment. We're getting something from the other side with that moon's conjunction to Jupiter, or we are the one giving the lessons, giving the guidance, giving the hope, giving the details based off of the moon's conjunction to Jupiter. Okay. We feel this the most exact between 10:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So it's like we're having a great lunch appointment with the boss, with the broker, with that new employee. Sometimes we're the teacher telling somebody, I'm going to show you the ropes. The other times, like, we are the person getting shown the ropes, that type of energy, that type of vibe. Not heavy. Doesn't have to be heavy. As we continue between 3:30 and 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, so I guess this at 4:30, Neptune is going to sextile the moon. We can be talking about the effects of something. We can have parts of the afternoon that feels very, very confusing. We're going to be shown the ropes, but the thing is as soon as we sit down and they show us like the first time of how to do that software, the first time how to do something, we're like, don't ask me to do that again, because I'm not going to be able to duplicate all of those steps. I'm going to need some time. I'm going to need some practice. I need a moment to wrap my head around this. Give me a few days. And that kind of comes through right in this afternoon time span with Neptune's energy. We can still feel really solid about what's going on, but so many of us have been in this new energy, and so many of us are still feeling like the fish out of water, going back to some of the things I talked about last week, that there can be just that next layer of like, okay, I know you're teaching me. I'm only learning so much. I can only take in so much at a time. And we can just feel that like wave of confusion. Other people, it's not going to be confusion at all. There's going to be some type of like excitement and something that we start like fantasizing about, something that feels like it speaks to fantasy, or something that we have, something that really kind of bumps our energy. This day doesn't feel negative. Just because you get confused by something does not mean it has to be negative. And there can be things where we're talking about treatments with Neptune's energy. We're talking about the medicine. We're talking about the effects of something and what we can anticipate moving forward. And if you're doing a lot of things tied to the medical aspect of things, these Neptune Jupiter conjunctions and the connections happening the way that they are, a lot of times we're getting guidance from the doctor, or we're getting told what we need to do in treatments based off of these two energies whenever they start to interject really, really quickly. Okay. At 6:21 p.m. Central Standard Time, so I'm bumping this to 6:30, the moon is going to go into Gemini. We need to wrap our head around some things. We need more information. Now, while the moon is in Gemini for the next 2.5 days, please remember the condition of Mercury. And Mercury is in Aries, and not everybody has a proactive way to deal with this energy. And I want to remind people of road rage. I've already seen some incidents tied to this with Mercury and Aries, but I've also seen it kind of spike a little bit when the moon goes into the mercurial sign. So like in the past few weeks, whenever we've had moon in Virgo and the other moon in Gemini timeframe, like it makes us more argumentative, more combative. This is a recovering Mercury. So we're going back over areas of the sky that we've already dealt with. So again, we're dealing with the next round of certain information. We are again wrapping our head around some things. We can be very, very blunt and brash with the things that we start to communicate with certain people. And that's not specific to any part of the moon in Gemini transits. That's the whole time frame of the moon in Gemini. Be aware of your words and how much they hurt, how curt we can be. But at the flip side of this, whenever we've just had this moon, Mercury, Chiron thing that started the week, for some people, it's like we've started one part of the healing conversation, or we're starting one form of communication that feels really healing with Mercury, Chiron. And now it's like the conversation starts to move a little bit faster. The banter is a little bit more. The conversation is a little bit more intense, or a little bit more funny, a little bit more witty. Like we're moving forward and we're getting more knowledge. We're expanding more on the knowledge. We're getting more awareness of some things. And some of the awareness is about the knowledge and the actions that follow said knowledge. I'm like, okay, I've seen what we've done. Now give me some time to express that. For the people you're trying to wrap your head around what you're getting trained on, you know what it is. A lot of mental energy this week. Okay. Between 9 and 11 p.m. Central Standard Time, so I got this at 10:30, Pluto retrograde is going to trine the moon. We can be talking about how we are progressing moving forward, and talking about how we're moving forward now is helping us overcome things to the past. How we're moving forward now is going to change something in our surroundings. It's going to transform something. The things that we're planning on, the things that we're working through, is helping us with some level of recovery. It is letting us know that we can move forward. It is helping us with letting go of a past trauma, abuse. It is helping us. Some people, we need to just let something out. We need to conversate about some things. Whenever we start adding that Plutonian part of the energy, there can be the voicing of how we have overcome past trauma, past struggles, past events. And if you put the tone change in of what I was talking about with Saturn and the Sun, which they're still in their sextile, they're separating, some of what we're voicing, some of what is coming through is helping us understand, and it is putting more things in light. So I like the conversations that are starting to be had for a lot of people whenever we go through this week. Okay. We're going to get into the 9th. The moon will be in Gemini all day, of course. And if you need to get caught up on some things, Thursday's your freaking day. The main transit that happens early in the morning, and that is between 4:30 and 6:30 a.m. So you see, I got this at 5:30. Mars, in its domicile, is going to sextile the moon. The moon is being hosted by Mercury, and Mercury is also in Aries. There is some type of action, reaction, a push to do something, and we feel very, very motivated first thing in the morning. There's a very motivational energy here, mental motivation, physical motivation. We need to have a good place to put our energy. If we do not have a good place to put our energy, then we can have some disruption. We can have some frustration. We can have some combativeness. We can have some tension. We can have some arguments. We can feel like we're being bullied. We can be feeling like what we're pushing is bullying someone else, whether we want to recognize that in ourselves or not. That's a different conversation. But Mars' sextile the moon happens first thing in the morning. And for the most part, when it comes to the rest of the day on Thursday, there's not a lot going on. So some of us, we are trying to take a plan and put it into action. We're trying to get something knocked out, get something worked through, get something built. We're taking a plan and moving it forward. We're taking the training and trying to implement it. We're trying to push something forward. It doesn't have to be heavy. For a lot of people, it can be very, very exciting. So be aware of that energy. But beyond that part of the transits, like I feel like there's so much mental energy going throughout the day on Thursday that some people it's either going to be great conversations, for other people it's going to be the banter, for other people it's going to be the road rage. It's going to be this like saying something really easy, really fast and ticking somebody off. Like there's something about it that just screams like we could potentially piss some people off. But in a lot of ways, if you have a good, healthy outlet for this energy, don't feel like we're going to piss a lot of people off. Okay, now, the next transit after the early morning transit is this one right here. Now, this one takes place, it starts on the 9th. For other people, it's going to be on the 10th. So it's one of those that it's taking us into the next day. And for a lot of people, we are expressing a responsibility. We are expressing something that needs to be addressed. We are getting the green light. We're getting some type of information. We're getting some type of questioning from the authority figure, from the elder. It is a square. Saturn squares the moon. Again, this is going to perfect between 11 p.m. on the 9th and 1 a.m. on the 10th. So for some people, this is going to happen on Friday. Other people, this is on Thursday. But there's talk here about like what's the responsibility, what we're going to do moving forward, how this is going, getting the check-in, getting the checkup. There is something about what time will something happen, what responsibilities will be occurring, who's responsible for what. There is a questioning, but given the rest of the energy, it does not feel heavy. It does not have to feel like an argument. It actually feels like it can go really well, but I'm paying attention to the fact that the moon is in Gemini while Mercury is in Aries. So for some people, it might result in an argument. It does not have to be this way, but the human effect is y'all make your choices. Moving along. Okay. We're getting into the 10th. We're getting more into the 10th now. And when we get into the morning time, the moon is going to receive a sextile from Chiron. This is happening between 5:30 and 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Not everybody is going to understand this and feel this in that moment. We're going to be talking, some of us might be able to identify again how something has healed. Some of us are going to be talking to somebody about what they did in the past to fix something, where they try to fix things in the past. Like there's something about the fix, the healing, the overcoming. Some of us might ask something of somebody and then not get an answer for a few hours, just to be clear. We're like, didn't you go through this situation? But you're saying this in your DMs, you're saying this in an email, you're saying this in one way, and you might not get a response for a few hours, but there's something here about how we are going to fix something moving forward, how we can continue to work through something. Continuing this on a little bit further, between 11 a.m. and 1:30 p.m., so this one's got a little bit longer of a span, Mercury is going to sextile the moon. Mercury is hosting the moon. So again, if you asked about something earlier in the day and you get to the afternoon, this might be whenever you get the guidance. Might be where you get the expression of somebody else's experience. Something might be getting revealed in that experience that feels very unexpected, feels a little weird. Like, oh, I didn't know it went to that extent. I didn't know it was like that. I didn't know you've had to wait so long. I didn't know it took that long. I didn't know what I didn't know. But considering we're still building to the Sun-Uranus conjunction, some of the guidance, some of the conversations, some of the way that this is going moving forward has an expect the unexpected detail, but it's like the details. I didn't know that it took that long. I didn't know that that's how he felt. I didn't know that that's what she did. I didn't know. But we're getting some type of guidance. We're getting some type of information. We're getting some type of expression. We're having some type of conversation. And sometimes it's just like the new conversation. Sometimes we're in the new commitments and we're talking about, how did you do this in the past? Oh, well, why did you do it this way? Why can we try doing it this way? What do you think of this idea? What do you think of this? Da, 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 da. And there can just be that back and forth. Not heavy. Doesn't have to be heavy. But I don't be surprised if we get that conversation that speaks to, like, have you tried this in the past? Have you tried something else? Maybe we can try something new. Because whenever we get into the later parts of the evening, between 7:30 and 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, so I got this at 8:30, Neptune is going to square the moon. For some of us, Neptune's square to the moon is going to be inspiration to logic. It's going to be spiritual conversations to trying to gain more information. There can be something here where we're like teaching, we're experiencing the effects of something, we're talking about the effects of something. For some of us, again, with the Neptune Jupiter transits that we've been going through, a lot of those have been speaking to medical things. So when I'm saying the effects, it could also have to do with the treatments. Like whenever I did the research, this is the side effects of these treatments. This is the side effects of this medicine. Or we're expressing, how we talked about this the other day, and now I'm trying this medicine. I can notice the difference. That could be a good thing or a bad thing. I'm noticing the difference in my body. I'm noticing the difference in my mind. I'm noticing the difference in how I feel. I'm noticing the difference. And we can be talking about the effects of something. We can also be having some very confusing conversation, be like, oh, I didn't know you felt so passionately. I didn't know that you were going to be an ass. I didn't know this. And just be aware, again, whenever we have these late degree triggers between Neptune and the moon, whenever the moon's going through Gemini, a lot of times what we start to express will later result in what we need to process in our emotions, how we're feeling about something. And for some people, once the moon goes into Cancer, and that happens at 10:14 p.m. Central Standard Time, so I'm bumping this to 10:30, boom, the moon is in Cancer. Once the moon goes into Cancer, we can really start to take more consideration into how we're feeling about something. And I do still get the sense of that we can be feeling something very, very secure. Now, why do I say that? One, the moon is now in its domicile. Neptune, Mars, and Venus are all in their domicile. Venus is hosting the Sun, Uranus, and Jupiter. So with her being secure in her domicile, these also feel secure. There can be excitement. There can be independence. We are talking about how we feel about something. And we have so much new developing that it's not necessarily confusion whenever it comes to that energy from Neptune to the moon before it changed signs, but more of an excitement. And we start to imagine how something is going to go. We start to imagine how something is going to feel. And there is levels of emotional processing that needs to happen with the moon in Cancer, but these feel like new emotions for a lot of people. New considerations, new care, a new way of doing things, because we're still feeding off of that new moon energy. And the more we start to realize that new, the more excited we can be. However, not everybody is going in an exciting direction. So again, if you have just been told that something's not going to go your way and you're feeling confused and overwhelmed, and the effects of something that's leaving you very emotionally distressed, the moon in Cancer can again trigger that level of emotions. That might not be immediate when the moon goes into Cancer, but it can be once we get into Saturday. So let's get to the one and only transit to Saturday. And this is going to perfect between 12:30 and 2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Mars is going to square the moon. Mars is in its domicile. The moon is in its domicile. Some of us know we have to take an action, or we are pushing for an action to be agreed upon. And the other person is coming from a different perspective. It's coming from a different light. But I get the feeling that if we're having tensions on Saturday, I feel like both sides have the ability to be right. Both sides are coming from a point of understanding their needs and their expression, and both sides have valid points. Sometimes we have these connections where Neptune is involved. We get this negative sense, but Neptune's not involved. Both of the planets we're talking about are in their domiciles. This feels like whatever conversations we are having, whatever communication is coming through, whatever new thing is happening, and whatever we are trying to get going this week, whatever is starting to really feel liberating or feel exciting or feel momentous, the two parties involved are both right in different ways. For some people, Mars's square to the moon is going to be an action. And it's the only transit that we're having on Saturday, which is going to make Sunday like really busy, by the way. Some of us, it's just like a check-in, a future action. Hey, it is Mother's Day weekend, using that as an example. Hey, Mom, we're coming tomorrow. What time do you want us to be there? What time do you want this to happen? Oh, where are we going for food? Where are we doing this? Some people, it is better to celebrate Mother's Day on Saturday than it is Sunday, because Sunday, all the restaurants and stuff are packed. But there is some type of action. There is some type of level of emotion. There is some type of consideration. There's something here. And we can be talking about what we are reacting to based off of the other events that have been at hand. This is the only transit to Saturday. That's it. Mars is square to the moon. It's not meant to be heavy. It doesn't have to be heavy. For some people, when we get to squares, and squares are of the nature of Mars, they feel heavy, but it does not have to be heavy. Now we're going to get into Sunday, and there's a lot more energy to Sunday. So happy Mother's Day to all the mommies out there. Between 2 and 4 a.m. Central Standard Time, Venus is going to sextile the moon. I think this is interesting because the moon is also squaring the nodes, and the nodes are finally shifting off the 15-degree mark as we go through Sunday the 12th and Monday the 13th. So we are really starting to get the sense of something we are shifting towards and simultaneously shifting away from. Our energy is moving, our ideas are moving forward, our needs are moving forward. There's something about the forward progression, finally, after months of feeling like we're stuck dealing with the whole same thing over and over and over again. I feel like we're finally going to start to feel energetically like we're hitting a bit of a green light. So Venus in her domicile, sextiling the moon in her domicile. Hey, I just want to talk about like how you're feeling. Want to talk about like how this looks. I wanted to talk, I get your opinion. I just want to see what you were thinking. There's some emotional consideration. There's some helpfulness. Venus is always trying to like talk about the looks of something, talk about how something makes us feel, trying to give some pleasure. There can be something about like, hey, I hope we're able to hang out today. I hope we're able to hang out later. What do you think about this? There's some consideration. Are we doing all of these conversations at 2 and 4 in the morning? Not necessarily. Not really. But it is a part of the vibration as to where we're going on Sunday. So keep that part in mind. Now, between 5 and 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, Saturn is going to trine the moon. This is water to water, emotion to emotion. Roles, responsibility, reflection, and recognition of the elder. I think it's funny that we're having so many of these moon and Cancer moments during Mother's Day's weekend. So I feel like people might even go a little bit over the top for Mother's Day this week. But Saturn's trine to the moon. It's like, do we have time for this? Where do you want to go? Can you tell me something? Give me some clues. Give me this, give me that. But it's more informational and it's more emotional and it has a lot of consideration to it. When we get into the afternoon, Chiron is going to square the moon. And this is going to happen between 12:30 and 2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So we're getting this to 1:30. Chiron, 21 degrees. The moon, 21 degrees. Sitting down at lunch, sitting down at your mom's house, talking about how they've been feeling, talking about something in their treatments, talking about the appearance of something, talking about what's going on in your life and telling your mom about it, telling your elders about it, telling somebody that you feel emotionally secure with, talking about how we're fixing some things, talking about how some things are moving forward. Not heavy energy. There can be some questioning. Like, well, you want to tell me what's been going on? And considering whenever the moon goes through the square to Chiron, it's also going through a sextile with the sun. We actually feel this the most exact between 2:30 and 4:30. So moving this to 2:30, you can see Chiron square moon, sun sextile moon. Where whatever's getting questioned, whatever's being voiced, whatever we're going through or going over, there can also be the reflection of the identity. Oh yeah, I'm taking this new job. Oh yeah, I'm going in this other direction. Oh yeah, I've started this. Oh yeah, I've got a new business partner. Oh yeah, I've made this commitment. Oh yeah, this is my goal for the long term. That's how I fix the situation, is because I have this other thing that I've identified with. We get into the afternoon between 3:30 and 5:30 p.m. So late afternoon, early evening. Uranus is going to sextile the moon. Now, this is interesting to me because the Sun-Uranus conjunction is building. And again, it does not go exact this week. It goes exact on Monday. So we know we could be getting closer to revealing something. And there can be revelations that happen on Sunday that have like a shocking effect. We can reach out or hear something from someone based off of emotional considerations that feels unexpected. If you don't talk to your kids, then you get that unexpected Happy Mother's Day text. Like, oh, I thought you had forgot you had a mom. You could be getting that conversation or that communication from another person unexpectedly going, hey, just wanted to wish you a Happy Mother's Day. They're not even your kid. I'm going off Mother's Day because knowing that that's what's going on this day, I feel like some people will have those unexpected communications of Happy Mother's Day or, hey, do you want to go to lunch? Hey, do you want to do this? Hey, do you want to do that? There is something about like things getting revealed. So we could be revealing something to another person and they might have like an emotional response. It doesn't have to be a heavy response, but it can lead to questions. And that gets us into this final transit of the day, which will be one of those transits, again, that carries from Sunday going into Monday. So this late night transit that I'm about to get into happens the most exact. Mercury will square the moon the most exact between 11 p.m. and 1:30 a.m. Jupiter will sextile the moon the most exact between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. So this has happened simultaneously. So I've got this at 11:30. This is, again, one of those transits that it's going to start the next week. And going into the next week, we're at the start of the Sun-Uranus conjunction. Mercury's in the higher authority squaring the moon. There's ideas, there's communication, there's conversation. Jupiter is sextiling the moon, and Jupiter is wrapping up its trip through Taurus. Mercury is now going over its point of shadow. Yeah, this is how we're starting the next week. And for part of us, like the human effect is, some people, this is going to be Sunday evening. For other people, this is exactly how we're starting Monday. But there's going to be some type of communication, some type of conversation, some type of connection, something that is going to be happening somewhere between next weekend and the start of the new week, that it's like we're finally getting something going that we were trying to get going a month prior, specifically like Easter weekend, because Easter weekend was the last few days of March, and then April 1st was the start of the Mercury retrograde. That was that weekend. So there were things that we were trying to do before that was just, the vibe wasn't right. I don't have time for this. I can't commit to this. I can't do this. And we couldn't commit to doing certain things. And now, once we get into this weekend, we feel more able to commit. We feel more aware. We feel like we can reveal something. We have something that's meant to come to light. And we have some better ideas of how something is going to go moving forward. And the more aware we are of where we're going moving forward is also helping us overcome fear, overcome the past, overcome trauma, overcome a lot of things. And a lot of this energy, again, it's next weekend going into the start of the new week. So there are things about this week that will directly feed into the next week. So be prepared. We're going through a continuous flow of energy. And we're getting, again, more acquainted with the new normal, more acquainted with this new version of stability, more acquainted with what we desire now, where we can have faith now, where we're going next in the energy, where we're going next in our treatments, where we're going next in our career, where we're going next in our commitments, our relationships, our business partnerships, how things are going to progress with the family. There is a big part of the energy that, again, speaks to understanding more and more this new normal, the new long-term effects, the new long-term changes. So I really like the energy this week. And I do feel like a lot of this week is directly building into the next week. Now, the human effect is not every event and not every conversation of every transit will go exactly the way that I say that. I let people know that all the time. The human effect is it will manifest differently for everybody. It is the tone, it is the ideas, it is the energy that I'm more picking up on. Some people will not like whoever is in the new role. Some people will be blatantly against it. I don't know why he promoted her over me. I don't know why she thinks she's the boss now. Because she is. Because you are, depending on the situation. And there is more recognition that will come through this week. There will be more exciting things coming to light this week, just as much as the next week. And so many people are going to feel like they're finally solidifying into something over the course of the next 2 weeks. That it's going to feel very grand, very safe, very heartfelt. But once we solidify into whatever we're doing this week and next week, because they're feeding into one another, as soon as we get everything wrapped up and everything secured and everything signed off on and everything is done in the training and whatever it is, it's going to get busier. It's going to get more noisy. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is different for everybody, but it's about to get a lot busier. But first, we got to get through this new long-term engagement, connections, commitments, roles, responsibilities. We have to get more acquainted with the new normal. Okay. I love and appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for all of the shares. Thank you for all the conversations. Thank you for everything that's been going on. I am extremely grateful for all of you. Hit me up with questions, hit me up with concerns, and I'll talk to everybody very, very soon. Subscribe.